Hey, the live stream worked. Hi, Michael.
Good evening, Amala. Good evening, Donna.
Can you close the door?
Having a good week.
So far, so good.
Gorgeous day.
Enjoying this brisk November weather.
Yep.
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Good, Donna. How are you, Donna?
Oh, good. How's Leah?
She's good.
Good, good. Hi, Rainey.
Hello, Doma. Hello, Michael. General Lama. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Meredith, good to see you.
Hello.
Hi, Neely.
Hi, Donna. How is everybody?
Doing well, thank you. Hi, Elise. How are you? How's David?
Good. Doing well, thank you.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good.
So we can start by setting our intention for doing the practice today. So at the beginning of day 23, it says, those who are endowed with the Pratimoksha vows safeguard their moral discipline as they would their lives. Adjust your motivation by thinking, for that reason, by all means possible, I will accomplish the supreme long-term aspirations by means of listening, contemplating, and meditating on countless scriptural systems, and by abiding in a foundation of pure moral discipline. For that reason, I will listen to this king of oral instructions. So I'd like to make that our motivation for doing the practice tonight. Of course, the Pratimoksha vow, this is also the lay vows. So now I'm going to share the prayers. So first, the refuge in Bodhichitta prayer before the teaching, and sometimes Geshe will recite this prayer before he starts. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create the listening to the Dharma, meaning I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create the listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create the listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Now the short mandala offering. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. O holy and perfect pure Lama, from the clouds of compassion that form in the skies of your Dharmakaya wisdom, please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Idam Guru Ratamadalakam Niryatayami. Okay, so now I'm going to begin reading. We are in day 23. We're a few pages past the heading, the type of path needed to overcome samsara. And so,
Venerable Lama, before you begin, I just want to remind folks to listen and be thinking of any questions that you have and make a note of them and send them to me. And it's helpful if you give me context that's not the page number, because depending on whether we're on hard book or even different kinds of ebooks, the page numbers don't help, but give me some other kind of context and, you know, maybe a direct quote of some of the words around it. And we'll be able to give that reference to Geshe and ask the question. Thank you.
so speaking of direct quotes, we're going to start with Geshe Potowa's quote. And the hard copy is on page 426. Geshe Potowa stated, although we may not possess the public teachings, if we lose our vows, our share of the teachings has disappeared. So I don't know if you want to do a search on that. Geshe Potowa stated, we use the phrase, the teachings have spread to the monasteries and mountain hermitages. We don't say temples, luminous offering substances, and many monks. If the Sangha have pure moral discipline, then the teachings have spread, and we say they are people upholding the teachings. The line in a prayer that states, may the teachings of Konkur Losang spread, should refer to spreading in our own mental continuums. In this very moment, we hold in the palms of our hands the means of being counted either as a holder of the teachings or as someone who destroys or damages the teachings. The Moonlight Sutra states, if you don't safeguard your discipline due to pride of listening to the various aspects of Dharma on enlightenment, your improper moral discipline will send you to the low realms where much learning will not be able to protect you. Even if you are a scholar upholding sets of scriptures, if you don't protect your moral discipline, it will not benefit you. And you will go to the lower realms. If you don't safeguard your moral discipline, engaging in the purification and restoration rituals of Dharma protectors, receiving a vision of Yamaraja, and so on, will not be able to help you. Thus, if your vows deteriorate, other than merely having a bald head, both this life and your future lives will be ruined. The Manjushri Root Tantra declares, those who recite mantras with defiled moral discipline will not accomplish supreme attainments or the middling attainments either. They will not even possess the least of attainments. Buddha Shakyamuni does not say that those with faulty moral discipline will accomplish Tantra. It is not even a region or direction for those going to the city of liberation. Where is the attainment of Tantra for these unfortunate childish beings? Where are the happy migrations for these beings with faulty moral discipline? They will not even attain high status, nor will they attain the supreme bliss. Therefore, what need is there to mention accomplishing the tantras taught by the conqueror? Also, the sutra cherishing a bhikshu states, for some, moral discipline is happiness. For some, moral discipline is suffering. Possessing moral discipline is happiness. Corrupt moral discipline is suffering. Another scripture states, if you safeguard moral discipline, what need is there to mention generating other good qualities? By possessing moral discipline, you accomplish your prayers. It will even be easy to accomplish something as simple as your prayers. For that reason, since there is nothing more important than this teaching of the Bhagavan Buddha, you should at least cherish greatly these 4 root vows and the 5th about alcohol. Even among these, alcohol and women are extraordinarily destructive. We must properly apply restraint to safeguard against all 5 of these imminent root infractions by applying introspection and conscientiousness. If we protect our vows and commitments by properly implementing the Dharma protectors will properly guard and protect us through the command of the compassionate teacher. If we don't protect our moral discipline, even though we may beat drums, play music, and clap our cymbals, it will be utterly impossible for the Dharma protectors to protect us. Therefore, we should safeguard our vows and commitments properly. With respect to alcohol, this does not pertain only to the ordained. Even household or practitioners of Tantra must refrain from it, as stated in the Vajra Peak Tantra. the Kalachakra Tantra, Saravid Tantra, and so on. Query, you may wonder, well then, what about the need to utilize alcohol in women that is taught in the Tantras? Response, this permission is given to those lion-like beings who have attained control over the exalted wisdom of bliss and emptiness. This is not permission given to all Tantra practitioners. The drop of Mahamudra Tantra states, pretending to be yogi without yoga, traversing the path to Mahamudra, and the methods of exalted wisdom without exalted wisdom have no doubt that they will go to hell. Although donning the victory banner of the saffron robes, it is unsuitable for such people to even wear Dharma robes, and if they partake of various types of crude diet and activities, they are a repository of disgrace. The Dharma robes, such as the outer shawl, lower skirt, and so forth, are the attire blessed by the Buddha. Therefore, it is inappropriate to use them to clean up garbage, polish faces, and so forth. With respect to disciples spreading out their robes like sitting mats, when a lama is approaching to teach Dharma, previously in India, when arhats assembled for teachings, they would stack their outer yellow robes as a teaching throne, and so forth. Yet, because of the greatness of the Dharma, this was not a fault. With respect to alcohol utilized during a tzok offering, it is a tantric samaya substance. Therefore, it is permissible to merely place a drop on your tongue. There is no tradition of needing to drink it by filling up your drinking cup with alcohol from the tzok offering and saying it gives you strength. It is permissible to drink delicious tea as a substitute for alcohol. Atisha said that tea has many good qualities. This was the tradition of my gurus. If someone else needs payment of something like money, they shouldn't say it is for the cost of alcohol. There is a tradition of saying it is to purchase substances for flatbread and lunch. Even by merely saying it is for the cost of alcohol, one incurs a great fault. For those with high regard for the Dharma of the Vinaya, there's a tradition of not using alcohol for the golden drink offering in the protector temples and so on that are reserved for Dharma protectors, and instead offering tea in its place. It would be excellent if we could do that. If those who are ordained are unable to abandon alcohol in women, although we may subsequently bestow empowerments and blessing permissions of secret mantra, they should set aside those particular commitments for the time being. It is best if bhikshus and so forth bless their implements, their shoes, and the first portions of their meals, and thereby become ornaments of the teachings. At the time of the group of the 5 initial disciples of the Buddha, together with the teacher, there were 6 bhikshus in all, whose fame spread throughout the celestial realms, and in the sutra endowed with pure moral discipline, it states, although you may not hear it with your ears or see it with your eyes, the person who protects the teaching will be going to the higher realms. Right now, we sit amid the members of the Sangha jewel. Therefore, it is important that we don't remain as a member of those lay people who wear red robes. If we have pure moral discipline, we will be honored and praised as a Sangha and will be unlike others. If we don't maintain pure moral discipline or live in harmony, and a layperson writes a letter to the monastic community requesting prayers, we should be ashamed of ourselves. We purify downfalls and so forth before Sojong. So if we restore vows in our mental continuum and purify the downfall, it is also called Sojong. The confession of breaches of the pratimoksha vows is done in the presence of the preceptor, instructor, and Sangha. Confession of breaches of the bodhisattva vows is done in the presence of the guru, Buddhas, and bodhisattvas, and breaches of secret tantra are confessed in the presence of the guru and assembly of mandala deities. With respect to pure moral discipline, a sutra states, a bhikshu endowed with moral discipline is endowed with radiance. And this bhikshu is a great emporium with merchandise in the store of the collection of trainings. The sutra cherishing a bhikshu states, this moral discipline is supreme bliss. This moral discipline is the path to liberation. This moral discipline is the foundation of good qualities. This moral discipline is the cause of a Buddha. Je Lama Tsongkhapa declared, moral discipline is the water cleansing the impurities of faults, the light of the moon dispelling the painful heat of the afflictions. Resplendent like the beings in the center of Mount Meru, all beings bow to its non-intimidating power. Through this knowledge, the holy beings protect the discipline of perfect restraint like their eyes. Moreover, develop 1, the recognition of the Buddha's teaching on the pratimoksha, 2, the recognition of cherishing one's own training, and 3, the recognition that the conqueror's teachings remain for a long time in dependence upon a method such as this. It's very important that we think about these 3 listed in the immediately preceding verse as one and keep them as an important aspect of our practice. Je Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment also quotes the sutra endowed with pure moral When switch states, bhikshus, to lose your life and die is easy, yet to violate and destroy your moral discipline is not like that. Why? It is because by losing your life and dying, you only exhaust the lifespan of this very rebirth. But if you violate and destroy your moral discipline, you will experience great downfalls and cause yourself to be separated from your spiritual heritage and happiness over hundreds of thousands of rebirths. Using logical reasoning, you should safeguard your moral discipline even at the cost of your life. There are 4 doors to incurring downfalls in the safeguarding of your vows. Therefore, you should strive to learn them and close them. Not knowing the precepts is the door to incurring downfalls. Therefore, you should learn the precepts. Furthermore, it would be best if you studied the greater and lesser texts on the Vinaya about the precepts, such as the 4 sets of scriptures on the Vinaya, the Ocean Commentary, and text by J. Rinpoche Tsongkhapa Kyodrupje, Duzin, Gyalwa Gendun Drup, the first Dalai Lama, Gendun Gyatso, the second Dalai Lama, and so on. At least you should learn Geshe Chengawa's combined 4 scriptures, Pachen Losang Chögyal's teaching, the binding words of the Bhikshus training, Seling Yongzin Rinpoche's teaching concerning the 3 bases, and so on, as well as the Rosary of Radiant Jewels, precepts for the 3 vows, the versified precepts for novices and bhikshus, and so on. Carelessness is a door to incurring downfalls. Therefore, you should safeguard your precepts with self-reproach and introspection. Shanti Deva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, for those who wish to safeguard their minds, I fold my hands in prayer and say to them, always apply yourself to safeguarding mindfulness and introspection. Act out of self-reproach with respect to yourself and act out of consideration with respect to others. Lack of respect is the door to downfalls. Therefore, you must rely upon the antidotes to the various afflictive emotions. The way to rely upon them is analogous to how you should deal with your primary enemy in times of war. You should first subdue the one that had the greatest strength. In the same way, you should rely upon the antidote to whichever afflictive emotion is the most prominent. Furthermore, the antidote to attachment is unattractiveness. This can be learned from a sutra teachings addressing the perception of the body as a corpse and so on. There are also the conceptual elaborations of the mind that improperly apprehend the negative way of producing attachment as something good. The way to meditate on love as the antidote to hatred occurs during the instructions on training the mind of a being of great scope. The antidote to pride is to meditate on the classifications of the elements that you don't understand, such as an eye consciousness and even a single one of your eyes, the sources, how contact serves as the condition for feeling, and so forth. Alternatively, with respect to pride, you can distinguish the elements on the basis of imputation for I, generating them and dependence upon apprehending them as a whole. Through such investigation, your pride will be pacified. As an antidote to ignorance, you can focus on the incompatible causes, other causes, sources, and non-causes for samsara, Shiva, Brahma, and so forth, as well as meditate on the 12 links of dependent relationship. The scripture on discernment states, whoever takes lightly or even slightly transgresses the teaching of the compassionate teacher will come under the influence of suffering because of that, just like cutting bamboo ruins the mango grove. A person in this world can even transgress the great words of a king without being subject to punishment. Yet if a person transgresses the instructions of the Muni, he will be reborn as an animal like Banaga, Elapatra. As this states, it is inappropriate to be careless. Externally, you are peaceful and subdued to the conduct of a Shravaka. Internally, you are endowed with competence in the yoga of the 2 stages. You should progress through the aid of mantra, tantra, and vinaya. This intention is an uncommon, unique feature of the teachings of the old and new Kadampas. We should be practitioners who combine their practice in this way. In India, when Atisha was acting as a disciplinarian, he expelled Mitripa from the community for accepting alcohol. Kyodrupje Rinpoche expelled a Siddha monk from Ganden Monastery. Pure moral discipline is an essential teaching of the new and old Kadampas, as well as love, passion, bodhicitta, and so on, which are externally obvious. The realization of clairvoyance, signs of attainment, and so on are not to be externally revealed, but should be hidden like a butter lamp in a vase. Atisha stated, when I was in India, when things of great importance or unexpected activities arose, we would assemble those who are upholders of the scriptural collections and come to a definitive conclusion about whether these activities were contradictory to the 3 scriptural collections and dependence upon which we would come to a decision. In addition to that, we monks of Vikramalashila would make certain that there was no opposition to a bodhisattva's conduct and no conflicts. Yet, It was the advice of the holders of the Vinaya that we would put into action. The final conclusion about whether or not an activity is permissible should be made by the holders of the Vinaya. The Vinaya is like the root of the other two scriptural collections, and moral discipline is the root of the three higher trainings. Therefore, we should safeguard to the best of our ability the individual moral disciplines from the vows of novices and bhikshus to the one-day precepts. This is also stated in the scriptures on the stages of the path. The Tantra requested by Subahu states, regarding the teachings that I, the conqueror, taught on all of the pure moral disciplines of the Pratimoksha, a Tantra householder should abandon the signs and practice all the remaining precepts. If a Tantra practicing householder should properly practice the teachings of the Vinaya, with the exception of some of the rituals, such as the activity rituals and adopting the signs of the ordained, what need is there to mention that those who are ordained should practice them? Day 24. Tsongkhapa the Great stated, just as I have fallen into this ocean of samsara. As this quote indicates, if we contemplate how we have fallen into the ocean of samsara and have experienced its boundless and extremely fierce suffering for a long time, we will also have a corresponding degree of fear and trepidation for all living beings who also experience the same type of suffering. The thought that wishes to free them from that suffering by oneself alone is bodhicitta. During the section on a person of middling capacity, you contemplate your own experience of the suffering of samsara and consider how that relates to yourself. You then contemplate the way all living beings are tormented in that way as well, and make the determination that thinks, no matter what the cost, I am going to quickly attain the state of enlightenment for their sake. For that purpose, I am going to listen to these teachings on the stages of the path to enlightenment. There are different ways of teaching that state whether or not the mind striving for liberation and the intention of renunciation are synonymous. During the section on the person of small scope, contemplate the sufferings of the hot hells and initiate renunciation. And during the section on the person of middling scope, you contemplate the foundation. You should not abandon your vows by engaging in a defeat of your vows that constitute one or more of the four root downfalls. If you incur a defeat of your vows through discordant factors or through a root downfall that is concealed and can't be restored, then you are not suited to be counted as a member of the Sangha. However, if you don't conceal them, then you are suited to be a member of the Sangha. Like the woman who made false claims about Geshe Langri Tangpa, if you blame a bhikshu or novice for not having pure moral discipline, it is an extremely grave fault. Although they may have previously been slightly sullied by faults in the past, as Nagarjuna's letter to a friend states, whoever was once non-conscientious and later becomes endowed with conscientiousness is beautiful like a moon freed from the clouds, just like Nanda, Angulimala, Dashaka, and Udayana. As I explained previously, if we properly practice confession and restraint, we will certainly be purified, like the moon freed from clouds. Training the mind in the stage of the path, a person of great scope. Although you may gain freedom and attain liberation from samsara for yourself alone by contemplating the suffering of samsara during the section on a person of middling capacity, through training in the three higher trainings and so forth, as a means of liberating yourself from that suffering of samsara, just doing that for your own sake does nothing for completing the welfare of others. If you don't also abandon the obstructions to omniscience for the welfare of others, you haven't attained omniscience for your own welfare either, and so on. Even Shravakas and Pratyek Buddhists are not even able to accomplish the welfare for their own mothers, as related in the event when Arya Shariputra looked to see whether his own mother had taken rebirth. Unable to locate her, Shariputra asked the Buddha to look, and the Buddha himself indicated that Shariputra's mother had been reborn in the world to the north, called having light rays. Extreme existence is falling into samsara, and the extreme of peace is falling into the biased peace of a meditative equipoise on a true cessation. Although the Buddhists have awakened the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhists from the extreme of peace to teach the instructions of the Mahayana, it is difficult for Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhists to develop bodhicitta. Although the Shravakas think that the path and the result of the Mahayana taught by the Buddha are extremely amazing, they respond by stating, "We are like charred tree trunks, and the teachings are too difficult," which is due to the Shravakas' own shortcomings. For that reason, it is important that we enter the path of Mahayana right from the beginning. Aryashura's Compendium of the Perfection states, by permanently abandoning both vehicles, we are powerless to accomplish the welfare of the world. Enter the vehicle that conquers Shakyamuni talk out of compassion that naturally only benefits others. Geshe Poto stated, "Don't raise your lower garment twice to cross a river once." enter the path of Mahayana from the very beginning. Disciples with the lineage of Hinayana will generate wrong views toward the Mahayana Dharma and are reborn in hell. Therefore, obtaining the state of a Hinayana Arhat becomes a great obstacle to enlightenment. As related in the Jewel Heap Sutra, previously Arya Shariputra was about to give instructions on the Hinayana to 500 bhikshus of the Hinayana lineage when Manjushri gave them instructions on the Mahayana, whereby they developed wrong views. However, they asked the Buddha about this, and he said that Manjushri had revealed skillful means and that the Hinayana bhikshus would quickly become enlightened. For that reason, it is important to enter the Mahayana from the beginning. Furthermore, Chandra Gomez's letter to a disciple states, like a moving horse, the light of the magnificent sun shines everywhere. The earth supports the whole world without concern for the burden. This is similar to the nature of great beings who are without self-interest and strive solely for the benefit and happiness of the world. Those who enter the path of the Mahayana must strive only in the means of accomplishing the benefit and happiness of others. Bodhichitta is the only gateway to the Mahayana that is suitable for such a being. Therefore, we should train our minds in it. Training the mind is the stage of the path of a person of great scope has 3 sections. Revealing that bodhicitta is the sole gateway to the Mahayana together with its benefits. 2, how to develop bodhicitta. 3, how to train in the bodhisattva's deeds once we have developed bodhicitta. Revealing that bodhicitta is the sole gateway to the Mahayana together with its benefits. Bodhicitta is the gateway to the Mahayana. We contemplate the benefits prior to the training to instill enthusiasm for training the mind in bodhicitta, which is also the tradition of my guru. Furthermore, this is not my fabrication, but is conjoined with the oral instructions in mind training and ornament of Losang's true intent. Whether you can even be counted as someone who has entered the Mahayana depends on whether you have developed bodhicitta in your mental continuum. If you don't have bodhicitta, then even if you practice something like Guhya Samaja, the ultimate king of the Tantras, for 1,000 years, you will not make the slightest progress toward the causes of enlightenment. Yet, if you have taken hold of bodhicitta, then even reciting one mani will become the cause of enlightenment. Even those of us who are Mahayanas and who may be proud of being top students can find it difficult to recognize bodhicitta as the sole gateway to the Mahayana. Although some assert that bodhicitta is merely a prayer that thinks, may I attain enlightenment for the welfare of all living beings, this is a huge error and is mistaken in terms of both prayer and actuality. It is rare for most of us to investigate just what exactly the term bodhicitta means. We must develop great compassion from the outset of developing bodhicitta. Atisha gave a strong reprimand when he stated, Tibetans regard those who lack knowledge of both love and compassion as bodhisattvas. Therefore, there is no such thing as a bodhisattva without knowledge of love and compassion. If you either have bodhicitta in your mental continuum or in the process of developing it, then you have entered into the ranks of the Mahayana. However, if you abandon it, you have been expelled from the ranks of the Mahayana. Without bodhicitta, enlightenment is impossible. Even all the Buddhas of the 10 directions first generated bodhicitta in the mental continuums and sequentially became enlightened. Whether or not you have entered the path of the Mahayana is not determined by the view of emptiness. Instead, it must be determined by engaging in the deeds of a bodhisattva. Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment states, it is not enough that the Dharma is Mahayana. It is important that the person be someone who has entered the Mahayana. Atisha the Great also stated, those fortunate beings who wish to enter the gateway of the Mahayana Dharma should sincerely and repeatedly generate bodhicitta, which is like the sun and moon, that dispel darkness and pacify suffering. Previously, when Atisha was staying in Tibet, an Indian acharya arrived, and he and Dontopa had a long discussion one evening. The following day, Atisha asked Dontopa what they had talked about, and Drom replied, these days in India, there is a Hivaja yogi who attained the result of a stream enter. Astonished, Atisha praised his own guru, saying, my conventional bodhicitta, my guru is sailing pa. At another time in the past, Atisha said to Drom, go prepare a red torma and made dedication prayers. Atisha also said, there was a Yamataka yogi from India who was reborn as a demon. When this spirit was staying here in Tibet, he was causing great harm. So I gave him a torma and I drove him away. Lodrak Drupchen proclaimed, if you aren't embraced by bodhicitta, you will be reborn as a spirit through your numerous recitations. If you don't have bodhicitta, although you may practice the profound dharma of secret mantra, you have given up your inclusion in the Mahayana. Some secret mantra yogis are reborn in hell, and some, such as the Brahman youth Chanakya, are said to be reborn as evil spirits, and so on, as well as the historical account of the Bhairava yogi from Pempo. If you have not been embraced by bodhicitta, no matter how excellent the systems of meditation may be, such as the generation and completion stages, channels and winds, Mahamudra, Dzogchen, and so on, they will not be of any benefit. For these reasons, precious bodhicitta is like the life tree for attaining enlightenment. Tsongkhapa stated, bodhicitta is the main path of the supreme vehicle, the basis and foundation of the vast activities of a bodhisattva. Like an elixir for every one of the two collections, a treasury of merit that assembles the limitless virtuous collections. Through this understanding, the Buddhist and Bodhisattva heroes take this precious supreme mind as the core of their practice. The conqueror and his spiritual sons, the Bodhisattvas, praise and keep bodhicitta solely as their primary spiritual practice. All the Buddhists in the 10 directions always state that taking this as one's primary spiritual practice is the only way to progress to the state of enlightenment. Maitreya sublime continuum states, wisdom is the seed of the supreme vehicle, the mother giving birth to the Buddha qualities. Bodhicitta is the uncommon cause of enlightenment and is also like the father. The wisdom realizing emptiness is the common cause of all three vehicles, and like water, manure, warmth, and so forth, and is likened to the mother. Glorious Nagarjuna also stated, sole path to liberation that the Buddhas, Buddhas and Shravakas definitely rely upon, and of which you proclaim with certainty that there is no other. We will be called a child of the conqueror. Thus, with respect to the wisdom realizing emptiness, the wisdom realizing emptiness functions as the cause for attaining the enlightenment of whomever you meet of the three vehicles. Bodhicitta does not go to any other vehicle and is the sole cause of the Mahayana and the cause of enlightenment. Without training in bodhicitta, although those wishing to attain enlightenment work to accumulate merit and purify negative karma for many eons, it will not become the cause of their enlightenment. Generating bodhicitta is the cause of bodhisattvas and the cause of Buddhas as well. Whoever generates bodhicitta, even something like a dog or a donkey, becomes an object of prostration for migrating beings, including the gods. When a person generates bodhicitta in his or her mental continuum, the thrones of all the Buddhas in the 10 directions tremble, their minds become joyous, and they extol verses of praise. Furthermore, the Buddha's great joy is analogous to something like each new birth of a son to a king. This sort of thing does not happen even when a Shravaka becomes an Arhat. Even Maitreya, Manjushri, and so forth perceive you as their bodhisattva sibling. Atisha the Great stated, Guru Serlingpa performed the most exalted deed of all my gurus, since whatever degree of bodhicitta I have is due to his kindness. We will surpass Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. Even when you first develop the aspiration for supreme enlightenment, you outshine all the Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and so forth. The Ray of Stock Sutra states, child of the lineage is like this. For example, there are merchants who have returned from a great ocean holding a precious jewel. When they arrive at the city, their jewel outshines 100,000 other jewels through its color and value. Likewise, although they abide in the great ocean of samsara, those who take the boat ride of prayers for the priceless precious jewel of bodhicitta of omniscience have in their mental continuums a superior intention from the first moment they generate the mind of a bodhisattva. Although they have yet to arrive at the city of omniscience, they outshine the jewel like Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas arrived at the city of liberation. Also, the Liberation Maitreya Sutra states, child of the lineage is like this. For example, shortly after someone has taken rebirth as child of a king, he bears the name of the king. And even though the assembly of ministers may become respected principal elders, the power of his great being of the lineage outshines them all. Geshe is here.
Yeah, please have a seat. Have a seat, have a seat. Oh, yeah. Please have a seat. Oh, have a seat. Yeah, good evening, Varnavasamullah. Good evening, Meredith. Good evening, Yeshua. Good evening, Karen. Good evening, Govina. Good evening, Bodhisattva Patrick. Good evening, Nili Wong. Good evening, Brian, Ryan. Good evening, Michael. Good evening, Elise. Good evening, Pandit Ji, Pati. Good evening, Carmen. Good evening, Renee. Good evening, Nico. Good evening, David. Welcome back to class. Sanje chodan soje chonam la chanjo pamo nane nabe chushi chibe sonam de no la penje sanje chodan soje chonam la chanjo pamo nane nabe chushi chibe sonam de no la penje sanje chodan soje chonam la chanjo pamo nane nabe chushi chibe sonam no la penje sanje Tata Lamrim na miya jiya omo da jojo la so chuji chula chawa chaba na sanje solo rado shiji nere jiyo. De dawa shiji ya tampe shiji jini nere jiyo ya na mola ya kena tuta nere jiyo. Dowa kunjan tona chiza mo tamche kento tabi chuten to kanki tuzi niso ne tawa lamya name. Tampe shiji tenze baba tamche na chakse. Ya alhamdulillah so any questions?
Yes, Geshe, there are a few questions. Excuse me. One of them in the text toward the end of day 23, there's a reference to both old and new Kadampa. And so the question is, what does this mean? We think of new Kadampa as a group that's around today. So what is the difference between?
They use the name.
Yeah.
They use the name. So, Lama Atisha is the founder of Kadamba traditions. From there, all the Kadamba Geshes, all the way to right people, Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa was the founder of the new Kadamba traditions. So Lama Atisha found all Kadamba traditions. So then Lama Tsongkhapa found new Kadamba traditions. So then what else?
Okay. On day 24.
Kadamba Ka literally means Buddha's teachings. Ka. Dam means bind. So there means even there's one syllable. Kadamba Marsa sees even just one syllable, entire Lamrim path, even in the one syllables, they managed to combine entire Lamrim teaching into one syllables. So there's like no word to left behind, because every word kind of like they see it's like entire path, Lamrim path. So that's the meaning of Kadamba. Kadamba means someone who sees like a entire Lamrim path in every word in the Buddha's teachings. That's the meaning of Kadamba, Kadamba master, Kadamba. So then Lama Atisha found. From there, so Kadamba tradition began. So then probably very much deteriorated. So till Lama Tsongkhapa came. So Lama Tsongkhapa kind of like refresh, or then that's what's called new Kadamba tradition, okay? So group, they just use the name. So it doesn't mean they worship the spirit. Kadamba has nothing to do with the worshiping spirit at all. Kadamba tradition has nothing to do with worshiping the spirit at all. Kadamba traditions coming from Nalendra traditions, from Nagarjuna, Arya Nagarjuna, Arya Asanga. These are the pure Nalendra traditions. So it's nothing to do with worshiping spirit at all. So, so human use the name for a certain group. There's nothing to do with Kadamba traditions. 3 spiritual practice: small scope, middle scope, great scope. 3 practices. This is how you define Kadamba traditions. Four deities. Miyowa, removing obstacles. Also, founder of the Buddhism, Shakyamuni Buddha. Deity of spiritual attainment, Tara. Deity of compassion, Avalokiteshvara. Deity to remove obstacle, Miyowa. So this becomes 7. These are the Kadamba traditions. That's how you define Kadamba tradition based on spiritual practice, intensively lay out in Lamrim, small scope, middle scope, great scope. These are their practices. What kind of deity yoga they practice? Shakyamuni Buddha, founder of Buddhism, of course. Then Miyowa, removing obstacles. Spiritual attainment, Tara, compassions, Avalokiteshvara. That's how you define Kadamba. From now on, whenever you hear word Kadamba, how you define Kadamba, word Kadamba, what it literally means, Ka, Buddha's teaching. Ka means Buddha's teaching. Dam means combine, summarize. Every single word in Buddha's teaching, they can summarize entire Lamrim path. That's called Kadam. Pa refers to person who is capable to do that. That's called Kadamba. Kadamba. Kadam, that's the tradition. Kadamba means someone who is able to see entire Lamrim path in every word in the Buddha's teaching. That's called Kadamba. And who teach that? That's called Kadamba masters. Kadamba masters. What they practice? Lamrim. Small scope, great scope, middle scope, and middle scope, great scope, Lamrim. What kind of deity they has rely on? Shakyamuni Buddha, of course, is no deity, but it was called deity because when you look at the text that's composed by Lama Tsongkhapa, that is the essence of refining pure gold or something like that. So the text in the homage. So then Lama Tsongkhapa called Shakyamuni Buddha God of the God in that. So because when they comes to Shakyamuni Buddha, even those the worldly goals, even cannot compete with one single quality of Shakyamuni Buddha, they cannot compete. It's like they are like, I say, fireflies during the daytime. They cannot even their fire cannot compete with the sun. Sun is so strong, so their fire become invisible. Similarly, all this worldly gold, their power become very invisible when they confront Shakyamuni Buddha. So they even don't have single quality the Shakyamuni Buddha possessed. Therefore, Shakyamuni Buddha was called God of the God. Even though it's human, but it was called the God. So now you see the reason for sake of your knowledge. Sake of your knowledge, next time when you see this word, God of God, that you should not take that literally. You should not take that literally because of course Shakyamuni Buddha was human being, it's not God. Now, you can't be God and human being together. There's two different realms. Right? So that's why Hachu Dinde, Kadam Hachu Dinde, Kadamba tradition is defined based on 7 things. 3 refers to Lamrim teaching, small scope, great scope, middle scope, great scope. 4 deities refers to Shakyamuni Buddha, founder of the Buddhism, Tara, spiritual attainment or blessings, compassion, Avalokiteshvara, Miyowa. So then I think most of you received the four Kadamba daily initiation from my teacher, Kensho Rinpoche, many years ago at the Kadamba Center. Okay, for the sake of knowledge, next time when you see, need to explain. Okay. Today, what else?
Yes, Geshe, near the end of day 24, talking about the necessity of Bodhichitta to enter the Mahayana, it says, whether or not you have entered the path of Mahayana is not determined by the view of emptiness. Instead, it must be determined by engaging in the deeds of a bodhisattva. Lama Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stages of the path enlightenment states, it is not enough that the Dharma is Mahayana. It is important that the person be someone who has entered the Mahayana. And so the question is, how do you know if you have entered the Mahayana? Is it just the wish and effort to develop bodhicitta?
Talking about helping and actually helping and talking about helping, there's two different things. Talking about helping doesn't mean you become helper. You know, you can talk about helping, but you never help. So, you know, talking about helping, so that very practice that you do is like considered as a minor practice doesn't make you minor practice if you don't practice them. You know, if you don't practice them, you can talk about peace. It doesn't mean that you are. You can talk about compassion. Doesn't mean you have compassion. You know, so there's two different things. So whatever subject that you talk about doesn't mean that you have that subject. You have that qualities. Same like that. The practice is a minor practice. Doesn't make you minor practitioners. Minor practitioners, when you put the practice, when you implement the practice into your day-to-day life, so that then you become minor practitioners. Okay. Same. Practicing Dzogchen doesn't mean you are Dzogchen practitioner. You know, so like it's not good enough that the spiritual practice that you are studying is Dzogchen, doesn't make you Dzogchen. So Dzogchen, if you practice Dzogchen, then you make. Same like talking about helping never help. You are not really helper because you are just talking about helping. Same thing. Okay. So then, of course, Bodhichitta is the entrance, the main gate of mind path, Bodhichitta. In order to develop Bodhichitta, you have to first develop universal compassion. Compassion, there's nothing to do with someone who's related or not related to your friend or not friend, stranger or not stranger, or enemy or not enemy. Simply that you realize, practicing Lamrim, that you understand that we are all in the same boat. Everybody is going through issues, not just you. And fortunately, you realize that not being liberated from samsara, there are so many complications. General complication of samsara, then particular complication associated with 6 realms, that includes human realms. So then you realize that you get very tired of that. And when you look around, everybody else going through the same thing. Then you sympathize. Because of that, you sympathize. It's nothing to do with that you're a friend or not friend, you're like stranger, not stranger, you're a family member, not family. It's nothing to do with that. Because you understood their situation they are in. So then you sympathize with them, then you want them to be free from that complication forever. So every word, every mantra you recite, every meditation you do, very beginning of your practice, that you are thinking about welfare of all sentient beings, firmly rooted in knowledge you gain studying samsara. What is samsara? So then every practice, even like every meditation, every practice, verbal practice, mental practice, meditations. So then your primary motivation is to just to benefit all sentient beings, that's all. Based on your knowledge about samsara. So then that is the foundation for universal compassion. So then you slowly you develop universal compassion that directly cause bodhicitta. Once you like how I say, see the benefit of bodhicitta, so that generate interest of bodhicitta. So that interest produce some effort. So interest generate effort. Effort produce result, bodhicitta. So then you become mind practitioners. All right? Okay. Main interest to entering the Buddha's teachings, refuge, taking refuge. That's the main gate, entering the Buddha's path, becoming Buddhist, taking refuge, becoming Mahayana practitioners, the practicing universal compassion. So that's why there's a reason why there's small scope in the very beginning. First, you have to understand the situations. Otherwise, there'll be no universal compassion. It'll be just in the mouth. So that's why you study small scope, then you understand what is samsara, who are in the samsara, who are part of samsara, all 6 realms. 6 realms, these are all part of samsara. No matter which realm you are in, it's all part of the samsara. And being there in the samsara has the same issue as you do. You know, like all the human has same issues, general issues that you do, you know, like yeah. So there's the so there's the universal foundation for the universal compassion. So slowly, don't get discouraged. Slowly, slowly. Even just thinking about bodhicitta, that's the start. That's the start. Admired by bodhicitta, that's the start. You know, need to start from somewhere. Don't get discouraged. As I said, some human did it. You are also human. You can do same thing. Okay, don't get discouraged. Step by step, I say, one day at a time. One day at a time. One day at a time. We'll get there. Okay, we all get there. Not to worry. No need to worry. But you need to see the benefit. First and foremost, you need to see the benefit. So that generates interest. Everything, mundane things, spiritual things, first you have to see the benefit. So more likely that will generate some interest. The interest will generate the interest. If there's interest, maybe you will put some effort. If you put some effort, then you produce a result. The result will be based on the effort. The effort is 5 minutes, the result will be maybe 1 minute or something like that. Okay, so every effort will produce result. So verbal merit, you know, all the mantra they use, say, all the practice you verbally do, merit. These are all merit. There's 3 draw: verbal merit, physical merit, mental merit. Yeah. So verbal merit is very important part of the merit. You know? So then slowly, not just verbal, then thinking what you are saying, mental merit. So then implementing, you know. If there's no verbal, nothing, if you don't do, there's nothing, then there will be nothing to think. You know? So then the verbal merit is very important, reciting mantra, reciting sutra, all of that, you know. So then eventually our job is to make sure be there 100% physically. Physically, you are there. The problem is mentally, most of the time, we are not here. You know, well, your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else. But your mouth is moving, but your mind is somewhere else. So that is our moral responsibility to bring the mind back to, you know, even though mind goes up, don't get discouraged. That's the nature of mind. Mind does go out of objects. So, you know, you need to focus on that you can bring it back. You can bring it back. You can bring it back. So that's the good news. Whenever it goes, bring it back. You know, nothing to feel bad. That's how it's been. That's the part of the process. It's not like right from the beginning, everything become perfect. Never happened. Never happened. You know? So you try to meditate. After a few minutes, after 1 minute, 2 minutes, mind goes. minute you recognize, bring it back. No need to get discouraged, bring it back. Eventually, it will less and less effort is needed because now, over the time you learn, over the time, then mind will more likely will stick with the prayer that you do, you stick with the meaning. So then, say the general word from the mouth, then contemplate on the general meaning of the general word. That's called meditation. Okay? Yeah, please don't feel discouraged. So the struggle is a part of the process. What else?
Okay, there's another question.
Yeah, sure.
It says, this is from day 24, training the mind in the stages of the path of a person of great scope. It says, Geshe says, disciples with the lineage of Hinayana will generate the wrong views toward Mahayana Dharma and will be reborn in hell. And the question is, why so harsh a fall?
Let's not talk about hell at the end of the day. Let's talk about something good. Thomas, finish. Sorry, finish. Thomas,
That was the whole question, Geshe. Just the person was surprised that it said, persons with the lineage of Hinayana will generate wrong views toward Mahayana and will be reborn in hell. And they're disturbed by so how harsh the fall. Why such a harsh fall?
Hinayana practitioner having what wrong view?
Yeah, it says, they generate the wrong view toward Mahayana Dharma and will be reborn in hell.
Generally, wrong view towards Dharma probably also go to hell too. Not just Mahayana. Generating wrong view, assuming that generating wrong view. Generating wrong view towards anybody is not good. Mahayana, Hinayana, even the Mahayana practitioner develop, it goes both ways. Mahayana practitioner develop wrong view towards the Hinayana. So there'll be there's mental afflictions. Mental affliction as a result. No matter maybe why they say go to hell, maybe they'll make you scared that you will have more likely, you will have no wrong view towards Mahayana. So religious harmony is the key, religious harmony. So fighting over religious beliefs is no good, nobody can benefit. So, so sometime, it's not good, you should not do that, it's not good. You go from here to there. It's not good, you should not do that, you need to be kind. If you say, if you do this, it's going to be something horrible, probably it'll go here, go here. So doesn't mean you go heavy karma, motivation strong, actions very strong, conclusion very strong. That's called complete karma. So that if you don't purify, so a lot of them, so then as just having it's not here. Make it clear. There's not like any kind of wrong view. It's like, oh, yeah, you do, you say negative things, there'll be no result, or the karma is just meat, so action doesn't matter, you can do whatever you want to do. That's not true. Somebody can say, that's wrong view. That's like denying that what goes on, comes around, denying that. And even though it's very obvious, so if you be nice to someone, more likely, 90% of the time, the people appreciate your kindness. That's your actions then they produce positive result. That's very obvious. You can't deny that. If you're angry all the time, you can say, "Oh, that person likes me so much because I'm always angry with that person." Never happen. Never happen. Who would like to be around with somebody who's angry all the time? Nobody. Like he or she likes me very much because I torture them all the time. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. That's the causality. You're denying the wrong view. It's not just wrong view. That's like the called lokta. It's like denial mindset. That's not like, Mahayana teaching never taught by Buddha. That's denial mindset. That's not good. Buddha taught Mahayana teachings. If some Hinayana practitioner says, but Buddha never taught Mahayana, Buddha only taught Hinayana, never taught Mahayana. That's denying. How is it? Denial? That's how you say?
That's correct, Geshe, denial.
There's a denial based on your view. That's wrong view. So that's not good. No, that's not good. So probably what do you do? What do you say? Okay, besides going to hell, what do you say? Besides going to say, you could say something. You don't need to say go to hell. You'll go to hell. You can say something else. Like if you see somebody's denying, Buddha never taught Panchaparamita Sutra, what are you going to say? You could probably say, people should say, don't lie. No, there's evidence. No, you can say that. Oh, the point is to prevent someone denying the Mahayana was not taught by Buddha. It's not talking about any kind of wrong view. There's very specific wrong view. No, so okay. Buddhism is the best for everybody. Probably not true. Not true. You have to have karma. It's not true. No. Well, you can't say that's best. You could say it's best for me. Yeah, that's nothing wrong. You can't really say the best in the world. So that will upset many religious believers, and probably should not do that. There's no benefit at all. So buffet is better. Buffet or buffet. How you say buffet or buffet?
I say buffet, Geshe.
Yeah, people from Louisiana, New Orleans, they say buffet. Same meaning is buffet. So that's better, maybe more choice, more choice. You can eat whatever you like to eat better than just one food. It's hard. Some people may not like, some people like. You can't force them to like something you like. It's not going to work. Okay, this is a very specific wrong view. So, Tene, what else? Wonderful question. All of this wonderful question. Tene, what else?
Okay, Geshe. A section said, whoever generates bodhicitta, even something like a dog or a donkey.
Oh.
So the question is, can a dog or a donkey generate bodhicitta? And the questioner thinks, yeah.
Nowadays, because of the technologies, you see things before you only hear. Nowadays, you see on YouTube, you see dogs killing people. So we have our own idea, we human has our own idea about animals' life. Maybe we don't understand what they felt, what they sense, what they feel. We don't understand. We just how to say, yeah. So even though we have experts, it's quite amazing in the United States. Every time that you bring something, if you bring piece of leaf, that's expert on the leaf. Unbelievable. Everything. If some people make like this, there's like some expert they call what it means. Every single thing. Frog, there's expert. Tree, there's like, I don't think there's no lack of expert in the Western world. There's expert for everything. And it's like we don't, maybe like, so they probably know a lot of normal people, they probably not, they know lots about that particular trees, plant, animals. But talking about their feeding, I don't think you can get it right, 100% right. So they do have feelings, they have feelings. We say, oh, they don't have feelings, probably not true. So nowadays you see like dog doing so many incredible things. Even somewhere in the museum in Switzerland, in the ski resort somewhere there's one dog, big dog statues. It's been built honoring the dog saving a life. It has to have some intent. It has to have what do you call? I'm not sure called intention or there's have to have some mindset, some mindset to to help people who are depressed, animals, cats, particular dogs, helps them get out of the depressions because you may need to feed them, so you need to take out them dead dogs, like things like that. Yeah, so my brother, when he's lost his wife, so the dog sense when he's sad, the dogs comes. Dog sense when he's depressed, dogs comes, make sure that middle of the night, if he wakes up, dogs comes and check, so make sure everything's okay. Yeah, so yeah, basically whoever generated Bodhichitta, so he become the child of Buddha, child of the Buddha. So Geshe. So dolphin saving, the whale saving. Now you can see like cat and mouse playing together, mouse sitting on the cat's head. That never probably happened in the, but now we don't see. Now we see different kind of animals, dogs living with a bunch of tigers playing. So how you going to explain that? It's hard. Yeah, so every living being has potential to develop bodhicitta because they are Buddha natures. Okay, they are Buddha nature. Maybe their own way of, like. Dogs doing one good things, human doing one good things. Probably the dog's good action probably is 1,000 times more powerful because human we can motivate, motivate. So yeah, so I think that dog can develop bodhicitta. What do you think? Huh?
Yes.
So now you have like postcard or like kind of like statues. There's dogs and cats are meditating. You see, postcard only happen in the United States on the Western world. So dogs sitting meditative positions. Now they have frog, they have dog, they have cat. So can't judge. Maybe they are meditating on their own ways. In monastery, we have been debating, so there's illustration of non-existence. We say rabbit home. Rabbit doesn't have home. That's the illustration of non-existence. Somehow their postcards been going around in the monastery, like during in the 70s or early 80s when I was in the monastery, somebody got some postcard, looks exactly like a rabbit, has home, kind of freak out all the monks. So you've been debating, what is the illustration? What is the illustration? What do you call illustrations?
Illustration, yeah. Yeah.
What is the illustration of non-existent rabbit home? Flower in the sky doesn't exist. So all of a sudden, there you see this postcard, very crystal clear postcard rabbit standing with a horn, not just small, it's very visible like this. So turns out, then eventually they figured out it's not rabbit, it's like some animals. You know what's called that animal?
There's no actual animal, rabbit-like animal that has horns, Geshe. People created those postcards as a joke back in the 40s and 50s.
Oh, so then they really got all the monks. So
Yeah.
they got all the monks in the monastery.
Yeah. People call it a jackalope, which is like the word jackrabbit combined with the word antelope.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a real thing.
Horn. So all the monks freak out. The monastery, so can't deny it's rabbit. It is a rabbit. It's a rabbit. So now you can't deny the horn. This horn is real. So whoever created that for out of joke, so they really got all the monks back in the monastery. What else? Sorry, this for wasting your time. Sorry for wasting your precious time.
Oh, no waste at all, Geshe. I don't have any other questions here.
Oh yeah, so today, like page number, what page? What day, Thomas, you said date?
We're in day 24. Venerable Lama will know what page we're on.
We're where the Liberation Maitreya Sutra is quoted in the section, "We will surpass Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas."
So last week we are talking about the 6 root delusions and the 20 secondary delusions. You remember that? Last Wednesday.
Now we're in the great scope.
Okay, so now that is quite important. So like the reason why we have to be mindful, unless you are liberated. I don't know, unless you are liberated. So probably you need less mindfulness. If you are not liberated, so we have to be mindful. Why? So not being free of negative thoughts. Object is close by, then judgmental thoughts take over and superimpose, then situation turns into toxic. So that's why we need to be mindful all the time. We need to be mindful all the time. Watching your word, your mind, your physical action. So that watch. If we are hoping for peaceful life, we need to be mindful, because till you be liberated, we are going to be vulnerable. So it's not just your actions, there's actions of other people. Not you are the only one who think. No, other people think too. So they also have mind, they also think, they react. So therefore we need to be mindful, mindful. So to build the armor based on mindfulness, watching, speech, body and mind. Okay, so that's what they are not talking about. Yeah, things can turn. Fraction of seconds, things turn into toxic. Fraction of seconds. Moments ago, you're having a good time. Next moment, everything turned to toxic. Based on some topic that you're talking about, and not being mindful, and that then the ego takes over. So then, so that's why need to be mindful, okay? So then now call the Maya as a day, Amula, what day we are in?
We're on day 24.
Let's go. Let me go day
Great
24.
scope.
Day 24 is the coconut, huh? So far, how many pages we study? How many pages?
We studied from the very beginning.
So far, how many pages it's been read altogether?
Okay. Let's see.
Out of how many pages this book has?
Let's see. Over 600. I know that.
Out of 600.
Over 600. Let's see. 656.
Then out of that, how many?
Let's see. And we've read. We're on page 445. 200. We have 211 more pages to go.
Oh yeah. So now, almost top of the mountain. Almost top of the mountains. There's a long journey. Almost top of the mountains. Bear maybe like a few more months. Then we'll finish. Okay. Oh yeah. So we are in the day 24. Beginning of the day 24.
Well, actually, we've gone into maybe about we're toward the beginning.
Of the day 24.
Yes, almost the middle.
Oh, it's not beginning, it's the middle.
Almost the middle.
Oh yeah.
The section, we will surpass Shravakas and Pratyeka.
Let's go. Shabbat.
So he quotes Liberation of Maitreya Sutra.
Tina the teaching you tell the people in it. Teaching you go on the subject. Teaching to a lot. Okay. So, no, the Nyawa, so it's important to right from the beginning is into mana part. That's very important. Quoting that Lobtin Nimala Tashin. Yeah, I'm somewhere there. So so then Hamala please said quoting like what text?
Liberation of Maitreya Sutra.
Liberation of Maitreya Sutra. Amazing. Liberation of Maitreya. Yeah, so maybe read from here now. There's three sections. Teaching Jugo Simche Kona Tempa, period of Japanese.
So we're the first section of the Great Scope.
So I already saw that somebody who's like looking down on the Mahayana path.
But telling about the good qualities of a bodhisattva, someone who embraces bodhicitta, you know, like we will be called a child of the conqueror, we will surpass Shravakas, Patyeka Buddhas.
Okay, now just read. So I'm somewhere there. I couldn't find. So yeah, please continue to read. So I will
Right.
listen.
So we're
I'm going to read from my ear.
So we're in the section, we will surpass Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, and also the liberation of Maitreya Sutra states. So in the hard copy is page 445. Child of the lineage, it is like this. For example, shortly after someone has taken rebirth as a child of a king, he bears the name of the king. And even though the assembly of ministers may become respective principal elders, the power of this great being of the lineage outshines them all. Likewise, shortly after a bodhisattva first generates bodhicitta, he is born in the lineage of the king of the Dharma, the Tathagata, and through the power of his bodhicitta and compassion, he outshines the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas who have been practicing the Brahman conduct, that is celibacy, for a long time. Child of the lineage, it is like this. For example, shortly after a Garuda is born as the offspring of a great and powerful Garuda, whatever good qualities of wind power, and perfect eyesight it has, are not possessed by the entire assembly of other birds that have grown to maturity. Likewise, as soon as a bodhisattva first generates bodhicitta, he emerges in an impeccable lineage of the great and powerful Garuda of the Garuda, the Tathagata. Through the power of his wing of generating bodhicitta for omniscience, the child of the great and powerful Garuda conquers his enemies. Whatever good qualities he has of the eyesight of pure superior intention are not possessed by all the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, who have practiced renunciation for hundreds of thousands of eons, and he outshines the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas even through his lineage. Also, the same sutra states, child of the lineage, it is like this. For example, although a diamond may break, it outshines all the superior qualities of golden ornaments, and it still does not relinquish its name diamond, and even overcomes all poverty. Child of the lineage, in the same way, those who generate bodhicitta for omniscience, although they lack its application, outshine all the golden ornaments that are the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, do not relinquish even the name bodhisattva, and even overcome all the poverty of samsara. Therefore, bodhicitta is like the king post or tree trunk of the Mahayana path. The paths of small and middling scopes, as well as secret tantra, are like the limbs. Therefore, you must sincerely apply yourself to bodhicitta. With respect to those who don't practice bodhicitta, yet pretend to be Mahayanists, this is a perfect indication of not having heard the instructions on the Mahayana. If they do not have bodhicitta, they are not Mahayanists. It is said that once we have generated bodhicitta, we produce the paths and stages, beginning with the path of accumulation. We will become a supreme object.
Sorry, but please continue. There's nothing much to say. I'm just enjoying listening. Probably you all do. I'm just enjoying listening.
All the great beings, such as gods, humans, nagas, and so forth, bow to the person who has generated bodhicitta. Even the Buddhas are born in dependence upon bodhisattvas. Therefore, because bodhicitta is the cause of the Tathagatas also prostrate to bodhisattvas. As the Jewel Heap Sutra states, Kashyapa, just as beings prostrate to the new moon and not the full moon. The Jewel Heap Sutra also states,
Yeah, new moon refers to bodhisattva, full moon refers to enlightened beings.
Ananda, if a bodhisattva sat in a
Ananda is the Buddha's attendant, Buddha's main attendant called Ananda. Maybe he's like Buddha's nephew. Ananda was Buddha's nephew. Very like attractive one, very physically very attractive. Buddha's nephew. And attendant at the same time.
Ananda, if a bodhisattva sat in a chariot and enjoyed a feast with the 5 sense objects and enjoyed the presence of a woman, and there was no one else to pull the chariot, Ananda, then I, the Tathagata, would carry that chariot of that bodhisattva on my head. Yet, even if the elders Shariputra and Moggallana remained for more than an eon with their 3 doors in a state of complete liberation, the Tathagata would not diligently perform acts of veneration and service. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, if anyone who repays the kindness shown to them, even sometimes is worthy of praise, what need is there to mention a bodhisattva who does so perfectly, even when not required? It is the supreme means of accumulating merit. If you generate this mind of bodhicitta, it becomes the supreme means of accumulating merit.
Sleeping, eating, sleeping, shopping, hanging out, everything becomes minor practice. Sleeping, shopping, eating, hanging out, everything becomes minor practice if you generate bodhicitta. Because you never, the thought, thinking about the well-being of sentient beings is ever present, ever present, ever present. While you're taking a shower, while you're eating, while you're like shopping, like kayaking, climbing mountains, that mindset is ever present, ever present. So that's why everything become, all the activity become virtuous. No? Yeah?
Shantideva stated in his Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, whoever perfectly adopts that mind of aspiring bodhicitta, from that moment on, even while asleep, or even if careless, a continuous stream of powerful merit will flow that is equal to the extent of space. You attain such benefits even from aspiring bodhicitta.
That's not that hard to do. Aspiring by bodhicitta. That's not the hard thing to do. Isn't it? Well, Ramala is thinking very seriously.
Yeah, I thought it had to be after you acquired it. But this is saying it's just aspiring. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Furthermore, Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, If even just a thought to dispel the mere headache of living beings is such a beneficial intention that transforms into limitless merit, what need is there to mention wishing to dispel the limitless unhappiness of each and every living being and the wish to produce limitless good qualities in each and every one of them?
Yeah, it's a bodhicitta is the thought. It's not it's your own thought. It's a thought. It's the part of your thought, like never that's like walking for welfare of all sentient beings will be ever present. That's your thought. That's so then having that thought is like your mind never get disturbed at all. Your mind, no matter what happens, your mind never get disturbed. So much courage and so much courage. With strength, so much courage and determination. So so that's very good. So the bodhicitta is very powerful mind. So talking about the quality of bodhicitta, didn't it? Continues.
So the person with aspiring bodhicitta,
Or sometimes they're called like wishing bodhicitta, sometimes aspiring. So I hope that someday they'll stick with one word, so there'll be no more confusions. Aspiring bodhicitta, wishing bodhicitta, same thing. Then second one is called engaging bodhicitta. That means you are engaged into the practice of six perfections. So then that's called engaging bodhicitta. You're not just wishing, but you are engaging into bodhisattva deed. Even though there's hundreds of thousands of bodhisattva deed, when you summarize, it's summarized into six perfections. So then that bodhicitta is called engaging bodhicitta. Okay, before you just wish, just a wish, wishing bodhicitta. Even just wish, there will be no hunger. Oh, wishing the world will be free of hunger. That's similar kind of bodhicitta. Wishing there will be no war. Oh, that's probably part of the bodhicitta. Wishing there will be no sicknesses. Wishing that all the medicine become effective. Wishing that all who are looking for something found that. Wishing if somebody is like traveling, their travel will be smooth. All the mother who's giving child with no pain, like goddess, so you can, how much you do? In the Guide to Buddhist Way of Life, chapter number 10 is mentioned, how much you do? Maybe it's within the desire realm, within our realm, there's like seven types of celestial realms. So I think there probably they give birth, not in the form realm, formless realm. I think it's only happened, form realm, there's no organ at all. So there's no organ. So I was just wondering, maybe it's like desire realm, within the desire realm, there's like 7 different levels of celestial realms. Maybe somewhere there, probably they give birth. And when they give birth, there's no pain, zero pain. So they're wishing, all the mother who's giving birth like that, no pain. So that's kind of bodhicitta. Whoever looking for water, get water, delicious drink. Whoever looking for food, get food. All the people who lost their visions, may they able to see again. These are like, these are all wonderful thought to have. It's a wonderful thought to have. So then you can imagine if that be ever present in your life, that kind of thought, there's no reason to be suffering. Even like not being liberated from samsara yet, but you have bodhicitta, your life will be much, much better off, 1,000 times better off. Wishing bodhicitta, you just wish. Engaging, then not just wish, then you are engaging into bodhisattva deed, 6 perfections, practicing generosity like that. Okay? Then maybe time is over, Tamala, now. Yeah, time is over. So Thomas is very sweet, not say anything. So thank you very much for sticking with this like 600 page long book. So now almost top of the Mount Everest. Now almost top of the Mount Everest. So only like maybe a few meters to go. Okay. So then I very much hope that you learn history, the teachings. So this is a wonderful footnote from Prabhupada. Okay. Thank you very much, all of you, and all of you have a wonderful night, and see you next Wednesday. Okay. Amula will do dedication.
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may we quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhichitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, I too dedicate all these merits in best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praise of the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so we might perform good works. We dedicate whatever virtues we have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect pure Losang Drapa to shine forever. Now the long life prayer for His Holiness, and the land encircled by snow mountains. You're the source of all happiness and good, all powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. And the one for Sarah J. Kinsen Rinpoche Jetsun Losang Dalek, the one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one with great patience who received the name Malatade, the one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa and Bliss and Void, Lama ornament of the yellow hat tradition. Please remain until samsara ends. Long life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You will pull the subduers more away, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Montanist victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels, save for myself and others, your disciples. Please, please live on. Om Taritu Taritu Re Soha. Om Taritu Re Soha. Om Taritu 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 Taritu Re Soha.
Oh yeah, Amula, thank you. Dhamasi, thank you. Thank you, all of you. Good night.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yes,
Thank you, Geshe.